introduce our first demo with Schoox. Schoox's demo today is deliver high impact learning experiences to frontline teams. And here to guide you through the first demo, we have David Wentworth, VP of Learning and Talent Development at Schoox, and Tim Welsh, the Senior Solution Consultant at Schoox. I'm going to pass it over to Tim and Dave to take it away for us today.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we're very happy to sort of be the first group to share with you guys today. I'm very happy to be joined by Tim, one of our best here to walk you through some of this. And I saw in the chat, everyone's sharing where they are and stories about how cold it is. And I'm here in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I believe it's in the 50s. So I wore long sleeves. So I'm right there with you all, commiserating. So yeah, today, Tim and I want to talk a little bit about the very specific aspect of the LMS, and that is reaching out to these frontline teams, these frontline employees. And what do we mean by that? Well, for our specific session today, what I'm referring to is very often in industries like retail, restaurants, manufacturing. These are these sort of deskless workers. They're not sitting in that office space in the cubicle with a machine in front of them all day, a computer. Instead, they're on their feet, they're doing the work, and very often they are literally the front line, right, between the brand, the company, and the customer. It's a very unique set of learners that we're talking about and require certain types of technology and approaches to make sure everything's effective. And this means so much to us because we focus a lot in this area, and I'm going to share with you some of the research that we've done around this and why our LMS is so well focused in this area. If you're not familiar with Schoox, there's a little bit about us. We've been around for quite a while, since 2012. We're very pleased with our customer satisfaction retention rates, as well as the fact that we've got learners all over the world with thousands of different clients using our platform. So sort of dig into what we're talking about here, that frontline experience and why it's so important. You know, we ran a study last year focused on these industries and took a look at both what the employers in this industry were doing and thinking about learning and training delivery, as well as what the employees were thinking about when it came to this kind of training. So some of the high level things that we found, we asked specifically of the employees, are you planning on leaving your job within the next 6 months? And we all know these frontline jobs, these industries tend to be pretty high turnover when compared to others, right? So it's a legitimate question to ask and sort of get a handle on, because that's one of the big things these companies are trying to solve is this retention issue. So when we looked at these employees who said, yeah, you know what, I'm probably going to look for another job here in the next 6 months or so, we then wanted to see, well, what are the things that they're experiencing from a training standpoint? Is that having any impact on that? So we found that among those that said they were going to leave, 50% of them said the limited training access was one of the contributing factors, right? So there's this idea that, look, I'm out here, I'm trying to do this job. I don't have the tools that I need to get it done. I feel like I'm sort of floundering. Maybe it's time to move on. So the idea that we need to do better at putting the knowledge and training in their hands when and where they need it. They often felt like 2.5 times more likely to say that they didn't have enough support from their supervisors, right? So then compared to those that were going to stick around with the company. And the other one was that 33% said that they're limited access to practice these skills, right? So you think about it, in these frontline environments, we push out all this training. Here's what you need to know. Here you go. And then just sort of say, go ahead and do it. Here's the knowledge, here are the skills, get out there and get it done, with no ability to sort of, okay, is this really going to work? How does it work? So we need to figure out ways to build in more time for practice. So this is some of the high level learning. Some of the things we also found too, and we're going to make sure that everybody can find where this some of the results from this study are, if you want to connect with us later. But we asked, and it's funny to see the contrast between what employees think and what employers think about some of these things. You know, what are the challenges, right? So there's time constraints. I think both groups agree that there are time constraints in that environment for training. You've got hourly employees, which they need to be trained on the clock. So that creates challenges for companies. And then just within that workflow, which is very fast paced, how do we fit the training in to make sure that people are getting what they need? We mentioned about the limited practice. I think one of the interesting ones to me is this technology barrier, or perceived technology barrier, where the employers felt like that was a challenge, right? At least to a larger degree than the employees did. So the employees don't see technology as a challenge. They're like, give it to me. I'm ready. I understand technology. Most of the folks in these industries, in this demographic, tend to be somewhat digitally native, and can handle whatever technology we may throw at them. So I think employers need to maybe change their thinking around what kinds of technology they're bringing to these teams. And then sort of the last bit that I want to sort of leave you with before we get into why our tool is designed for these environments. When we asked the workers, hey, do you feel like your company is invested in you as an employee? And so those employers that were rated highly for that say, yes, they are investing in their frontline workers, we found that there were sort of three standouts about these companies, three characteristics. One, they prioritize career mobility. So almost from day one, you come in as a new hire. It's not just, here's the new job that you have, here's how to do it. It's, here are the opportunities that await you if you desire. You can go on all these different career paths if you stay with us. That's huge for the retention and for the engagement for these workers. The next thing was they prioritize the collaborative learning, right? You've got sort of these teams. I think most of these environments, they call the employees when they work together teams. They work together. They need to rely on one another on a daily basis. So the idea that they shouldn't be learning in isolation, they should be learning together. So more collaborative learning is another thing that stands out among these organizations. And then for us, the big one is we ask them about the technology that they're using. And when the employer uses the LMS for driving performance, right, to build and develop workers, to give them the skills they need to grow them, as opposed to simply saying, here's the training you need to have, here are the compliance issues we need to solve, do it, and now I can track it. So it's less of a transactional tool and more of a developmental tool. Those companies, when they're more developmental in the way they use their technology, they get much higher ratings as far as how much they're investing in their frontline employees. And we live and breathe in that space. We're all about the sort of development part of learning and development. And our tool is designed very much to build on that, especially in this frontline area. And so I want to turn things over to my colleague, Tim, who's going to walk us through how that looks, what it looks like, some of the things you can do in the tool for these particular audiences. And so, Tim, I'll turn it over to you and take it away.
Thanks, Dave. All right, share my screen now. Thanks, folks, for giving us an opportunity to talk with you today. Some of the, the concerns out of the survey that Dave was just talking about. Schoox, I think, has got great solutions to resolve those problems. And I want to start first by talking about mobile. We'll talk about it a little bit, then we'll come back to it. Schoox was actually built first to work on mobile. And we've got, I think at this point, millions of people that are using mobile today. Why is that? Because it provides simple and easy access. Most people understand the technology on mobile devices. We do provide an app in iOS or Android. This is just an example of somebody that is a manager, but the training is also front and center. So just in a couple clicks, they're able to quickly get to the training and access it or download it if they need to. They're also able to look at things that are engaging, like gamification or leaderboards, to see who's in first and who's not in first around completing training. So there's also capabilities around career pathing. And with career pathing, it really gives you the opportunity as an employee to look at where you're at today and to look at where you might want to go in the future. And there's a number of other things that mobile brings as well. But as I like to say, everybody knows how to use a mobile phone. It seems like they're comfortable with apps, and it's a simple and easy way to get training out. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about just the Schoox experience. It's really built with the learner in mind. It's really built to improve things like onboarding, um, to really enhance employee engagement with gamification or leaderboards, and then also to develop skills through things like microlearning, which is something new to Schoox, which is really cool. We'll build a microlearning course here. And if you looked at any of the stats around microlearning, it's really exciting. Folks are actually preferring that over the traditional learning that we see today. But just to kind of cover what the platform kind of outlines from the homepage, someone like Sophia, if she's new, when she lands here right away, she's able to see the training that she needs to take care of. She's able to see when it's done. Um, she may want to move this to the top of the screen so she can see when things are overdue. Over on the left, we've got a couple what we call workspaces. We've got the learner workspace that will take her to all things learning. We've got social, which will take us to gamification and leaderboards. I'm just going to pull up a couple of those quickly to get you excited. There's some really cool games that you can actually create yourself within Schoox to really see kind of who's doing what, who are the leaders, who are the people that are completing or interacting with the system the most, as well as leaderboards. And we happen to see that Sophia is in first. Those are all things that can be delivered to the learner, as well as a number of other roles in Schoox. On the right, you're able to see maybe some of the different levels that people are moving through in their gamification. And again, it's something to get folks excited, to create a sense of competition. And also when it comes to badging, a great way to tell people thanks for for their effort in the training. I'm going to quickly go to this course. It's been assigned to Sophia, and she's going to complete this. This is an example of a course that you can assemble in Schoox. Now, you can build microlearning, but if you don't have any courses, of course, we have a marketplace and you're able to get content there. We've got over 20,000 courses there that you could select from. But here, I've taken the time to take some of my own content, a PDF, a PowerPoint, a video, a checklist, and actually create a course for somebody that's part of the onboarding experience. What you're seeing now is the Schoox. This is the what we call the theater mode. It is an immersive learning experience that lets you do a couple things that I've not seen in my 20 plus years working with LMSs. So I'm going to start here with this course. Sophia, the first thing she needs to do is she needs to read the code of conduct document. Now, whether it's this document or anything that is out there, if she finds a part of this that she's particularly interested in, she's going to have the ability to highlight this and actually take notes. So she's highlighting this section. As soon as she releases her mouse button, she's going to be able to save this to, and this is going to be note number 1. So throughout this document and other documents, she's going to be able to take snippets of either the document, or if we change gears here to a video, she's going to be
you and your friends safe and healthy. And don't forget, Whole Foods and left.
What I just did there was I have the ability to actually take a snippet out of a video. So if there's a specific part of the training that speaks to me, I'm going to pull it out first, and I'm going to save this. So effectively, what we've done is we've taken kind of a cliff notes here as an employee from some of the different pieces of content around what's we feel is important to us. Now, there's definitely other things that we can do that I think make us unique. Video exams are one of those, and with that, you've got the ability here to actually place a video in Schoox, layer questions on top of it to get people excited.
Proper installation for
that is namely, I'm showing it today because if you don't have content, but you do have videos, or if you'd like to record a video on your mobile device, on your phone, you can actually upload it into Schoox, put the questions on top of it. So what I'm kind of talking about is some of the tactical strategies that you can use to get great learning into the Schoox LMS. Job-based OJTs are what we call on-the-job training evaluations. You're going to have the ability to put together in Schoox. And with that, we're just going to take a look here that Sophia, she has completed this, and perhaps the manager will come behind her and he will check off on all of these items to validate what she has completed in the system. And then there can be a sign off of her name, and then this can be tracked. So a lot of compliance industries, hospitality industries, manufacturing, you name it, even sales teams use the job training checklist, the OJTs as we call those, as part of their learning. And then we can also factor in things like virtual learning or instructor-led, and we can finish with something like a knowledge exam. And with our knowledge exams, I think one of the great parts about this is that you've got the ability to do question level analysis. So it's not just about taking a quiz or taking a test. It's about really knowing and understanding how people are doing when they take that. And do you need to change your teaching methodology? So quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a microlearning. I'm just going to open this up to let you get a quick view of this, and we're going to launch this. And so Schoox uses and can use AI to create microlearnings. And I just literally put this one together about a half hour before our demo. And this one has got to do with workplace safety. All that I had to do was provide to AI a title, some keywords, or some specific topics. And I would tell it how many questions I wanted, how many quizzes I wanted in this, how many pages I wanted it to be long. And it went out there and it actually produced this. So you are not forced to use AI with the microlearning capability, but it can certainly give you a great head start. And it's, if you've looked at any of the research around microlearning, they say that 80% of employees prefer microlearning over top of the traditional learning. And then also when it comes to test results and retention, there's definitely a big uptick in the retention. Now, one thing that you're not seeing here is that after I've completed the microlearning, I have the ability to schedule as an administrator or an instructor to schedule questions or quizzes from the microlearning to the employee. So let's say I've just completed this, and a week from now, I get one of the quizzes is sent to me. So if you know anything about what they call spaced repetition and learning, that's something that we're able to practice here with the Schoox microlearning. But again, just it's a great tool to use. There's a lot of excitement around it, and there's lots of different applications that you can utilize for Schoox, for Schoox microlearning.
Hey, Tim.
Yep.
I want to ask a couple of questions that came in, like, because you were just talking about these recently, but about the notes you were mentioning, right? Of the
Yes.
learners, where are they able to see the notes? Do they need to return to the course, or are they visible elsewhere?
Right here on the homepage, my annotations is where all the notes would be. That they would populate kind of this swim lane. So there is a section in Schoox where they would actually reside. They could also return to the course and they would see them there. So if they go back to the course, they'd be like, "Oh, there's the notes that I took. Let me read those. What was I thinking?" I hope that
Yeah.
answers the question.
Yeah. Okay. And then just one more is about the checklist, right? Can the learner complete their own checklist, or is a manager required to check off the tasks, or can you set that up either way?
Sure. So yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah.
A an individual could complete their own. They could be required to complete their own, just checking off items that I've taken care of and that I'm done with. But what I'm showing you here with mobile is we're going to go to a sign off by a manager on a mobile device. And here let's find Sophia. There she is. And Sophia has, whoops, I'm going to go to her. Let's go to her checklist. And Sophia she has completed her checklist. And as soon as she does, and the manager or the trainer needs to sign off on this, they can receive a notification. And with that, what's going to happen is the tasks are going to come up on this page. The trainer or the manager is going to check off on each of these items. As they do that, they're also going to be able to take notes here, select different performance levels, like, yes, she completed the task, but she still requires more training. Or you see here, evaluation document at the bottom, you could actually record and upload a video of her performing a specific task and then sign off on it. So you're validating, yes, she completed the task. Here's an example of her doing it. And here's my signature as a trainer, validating that she's completed it. Hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Tim.
Yep, great. Oh, and one of the other things too, now that we're on mobile, and again, mobile from the manager's perspective it's awesome because quickly and easily I can look at the number of people that I have working for me. I can pull up a quick dashboard when I'm in the field. I'm able to look at curriculums that they're working on, and I'm able to see really the who's done and who's not with all that. So simple and easy to get to. One of the other things that we do is we have a capability called QR codes. And with the QR code capability, I'm just going to pull it up here. What this is an example of, let's say, you have got some safety training or how to operate a specific piece of equipment. You actually, you place that on the piece of equipment. And what could happen is if I have the app loaded, I would be able to come up and actually scan the QR code. And if this is some sort of training that I need to take or I would need to complete, what's going to happen is it's actually going to pull up the training on my mobile device and allow me to complete it. So that's a little bit about QR codes, mobile, some of the cool things that we're doing was, so there it is, it pulled the training up that you would need maybe before you need to operate a particular piece of equipment. Okay. Back to the learner experience a little bit. So quickly, the training experience also provides you with the ability to for self-service. And when I say that, you're going to be able to go to the catalog, and this is where the personalization comes in. You're going to be seeing recommendations that are specific to you. You'll be able to see training that's popular, training that's specific, training that has to do with skills that you have, or let's say, because we do support skills, goals, and performance reviews, and we tie learning to skills, we're able to see training that if I complete the training can actually help me or actually raise my skill levels. And then when it comes to career, which we're going to talk about just shortly here, these are types of training that can actually help me prepare for that next level. We support instructor-led as well as ILT, and it's very easy to register for any of that. And so with just a couple clicks, you're able to see what the event is all about. In one click, I'm able to register it. We're going to integrate with most calendars that you would have out there. And so you receive the notification and it's going to drop right on your calendar. But let's say that Sophia has been here for a while, over a year. She wants to see what's available for her. She knows where she's at today. She wants to look at where she could possibly go. And this is called a career map. And much like any other map, it's a great place to see where you are today and where you can possibly go and how long the journey would be. So she is a team member. She aspires to be maybe a restaurant manager or a regional or district manager. That's a long journey. But here, when she goes to restaurant manager, with one click, she's able to see in depth skills that she has, different skill levels, in the role that she's in today, as well as the role that she aspires to be in. And with all of this, she's able to come here and to look at an overview of training that she could take that could help her to prepare for that next role. Now, there's other matrices and graphs that you can see here that show you really kind of the clear-cut distance between the skills she has today and the skills that she's going to need for that position. But this is something that it's generating a lot of excitement with our customers. They really like the view that they get here when folks go looking for job roles that could be maybe the next step for them. Also, we include something called coaching, and we don't hear this talked about a lot when it comes to professional development or training. But here, Sophia has got coaching sessions that have been scheduled by her manager or by her coach, and she has the ability here to take a look at what's going to be discussed in those coaching sessions. So build a form to be able to kind of standardize the coaching process and have coaches or managers or trainers schedule those sessions with the individual, and then have the ability to save all of this as part of a record or historical record. One more thing before we move off of the learner. Schoox, we'll look at the gamification and leaderboards, which really, whether it's a badge, whether it's a leaderboard or it's a game, it's all about giving people points for things that they do. And it could be a leaderboard is a great example of something where you can set up the leaderboard, you can target a specific audience, so it can be specific to the audience. And so you could say, for this particular department, here's the leaderboard that we're creating. It's got to do with completing compliance training that's due by the end of the year. So you're targeting some specific courses, some specific people, and you're able to really dictate the number of points that they receive. That's kind of how it would all work together. Just quickly, the neat thing about the knowledge profile on the ePortfolio tab in Schoox is this, which is you have the ability to really, at a granular level, take a look at what Sophia has been working on over the last year. So she can see all the different categories and kind of where she is headed. If we kind of finish up right here on the gaming center, as I mentioned, we've got leaderboards. And as I mentioned, leaderboards are all about looking at engagement with the system and ensuring that Sophia, she's able to see the number of points that she's accumulated through all her activities. Could be completing courses, enrolling in courses, scheduling courses, any or all of those things could give her points. Those points would take her from level to level or grant her specific places on the leaderboard. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transition to we're going to build some microlearning really quickly here. So with Schoox, you've got the ability to use AI to build microlearning. I built a couple here. And the course that I'm going to create is going to be just that. It's going to be microlearning. So if I come here and give it a title, and I'm just going to use this as the description. And we're going to look at microlearning and how it works. We will pick a language. We'll pick a training category we want this to sit in. How long do we want it to be? We're not going to necessarily provide any tags. We want this to be something relatively short. So let's say 15 cards for an industry, educational, and question cards. We want 4 quizzes. Stack cards, we want 4 of those. Tone of voice, we want it to be informative. So that's all the information that I provided. I'm going to go to create course, and it's going to go out there. This will take just a few seconds to generate the microlearning. Once it does, you're going to have the option to go and actually edit any of the cards. Cards are going to be the informative pages of content, as well as the quizzes. So here it is, finishing up here with the number of cards. And then what we're going to do, we're going to save this. We're going to have the opportunity to put it in a library. So it could sit in a library, in the catalog rather, or you could assign it. So there it is. And I want to preview this for you. So you can now see all the content, everything that it's discussing. You can see all the quizzes that are available. And we're just going to do a quick preview. And then what we could do, as I mentioned, we could actually assign this to somebody. Whoops. Oh, we forgot to save this. We're going to save it. Now we're going to preview it. It wasn't quite ready yet. So here's all the pages. Much like the microlearning we looked at a little bit earlier. Now, this microlearning can be associated with skills or competencies in Schoox, and you would have the ability to send those values of how well people did with the microlearning, whether they passed or, I guess, failed, or you'd be able to look up specific microlearnings based upon those capabilities. I think we're about out of time, and I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna stop for a second and see if anyone has got questions. Any questions coming in, Dave?
Oh yeah, there's lots. Let's go back a little bit and see an interesting one here about would different branches of the company be able to have their own training, right? So you've got one company but with different locations. Can you localize the content and the experience?
You can. This is an example of a company hierarchy, maybe some different restaurants that's part of our restaurant group. Absolutely. A large complex hierarchy is something that Schoox does a great job in handling, and decentralizing permissions and capabilities is also something we do a great job at. So maybe if it's 4 brands, each one of those would have their own content, their own courses, and then you'd be able to report on it that way.
All right. Then a question about leaderboards. Can you configure those, right? Because the question is it for everyone in the organization, or can they be limited to specific teams and audiences?
It can be very targeted.
Yeah.
You can be very specific about the team. So yes, you can, and the courses that they're taking and how they generate points. So the answer is yes.
Yeah. There are a few questions around AI, and some of them, they might be a little bit too in depth for right here about, making sure the content is copyrighted, and how do we cite, or do we need to disclose that it's AI if you're building the course? Right now at this stage, the AI is simply assembling existing things that you already have access to, the content pieces, the parts that already exist. It's not creating anything out of whole cloth, sort of like these AI generated videos. So there's nothing there that you have to sort of say, hey, by the way, this is AI. It's simply speeding up the process of pulling together all the different content pieces. So if you already have access to it and the material is already, you know, yours or copyrighted, or you have license to it, that's the only thing it's going to be accessing. Another one, FedRAMP, not at the moment. We're not a FedRAMP yet. Another one around, yeah, the external platform used to generate AI content. So yeah, there's a lot of questions about AI. And of course, these questions are some of them get pretty in depth. Please feel free to reach out to us. But right now, again, we're not creating, you know, it's not necessarily AI generated content, more as though AI assisted content creation, if that makes sense. And then answer some of these other ones. Let's see if we get down here. Is there a PC version? Yes, of course. We're mobile first, but clearly this will work on any, you know, machine that you want to run it on. So I think we need to wrap it up. We're going to keep track of all these questions and try to reach out to people and get back to you as we can, but we need to make some space for the next few demos. So thank you so much.
Yeah, if you guys still have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll be saving this whole chat and the Schoox team will follow up with you. Huge thank you to Dave and Tim for kicking off today's LMS event.